Hi Mehul, now it's better. Now it's better. Can you hear
Yeah,
me
can you hear
now?
me?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I can hear you. Hi,
Great.
Yogesh. Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Mehul. So I think we are ready to start today's session. So friends, welcome back in
Sure.
another session with us as Mehul, who will tell us about a very interesting profile, which even I am hearing first time. So Mehul, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Yogesh. Thanks very much for having me over here.
Please brief us about your profile, like what profile it is, what work you do in that.
Okay, so before starting with that, I'll just give you a little background about myself, what exactly my qualifications are, and my work experience tenure.
Perfect.
So basically, I have qualified my chartered accountancy in January 2019. So it's close to 4.5 years of work experience
Yeah.
for me here in. I mean, predominantly I worked in Big Fours only. So I started my career with. In business consulting service line, what we usually call it as a risk advisory service line in one of the big four. After that, I switched recently close to 6 months back in another big four. Right now, what I'm doing is that I'm working in under consulting under we call it as finance and performance, which is finance transformation basically.
All right.
So
So
when I say finance transformation, is that what we do here in transformation is that we address the problem statement of CFO. We cater to CFO's problem statement here. And how exactly? So, from a service line point of view, we categorize the problem statement of CFO into different cohorts. Okay. So there is one operational finance cohort. I'll go into detail what exactly will come in operational finance. There's one operational finance cohort, there's one business finance cohort, and there's one specialized finance cohort. Under the operational finance cohort, there will be a lot of processes which are handled by CFO's team, which is the finance team predominantly. Is that there's one procurement to payable process, P2P process, order to cash process, record to report process, and those so on and so forth. Different processes comes under business finance, which also interchangeably used as FP&A team. So under business finance team, there would be planning, budgeting, forecasting process. There would be MIS reporting process. There would be how the performance measurement is being done, which is essentially a variance analysis. The third one is specialized finance. Under specialized finance, there would be treasury function, tax team, compliance team function, M&A team, and external relations team here comes. What exactly we do here in finance transformation is that I'll try to quote it one of my recent project which I was part of it is that I'll just try to correlate with the FP&A related project which we had done for a client.
mm,
So imagine a client has a top line of say 10,000 crores. It's a FMCG industry. It has a turnover of 10,000 crores. And for a listed company, there what exactly the buzz around planning here is that why a organization has a planning mechanism because it helps to drive very well the performance measurement after the year has been completed. Say after the year has been completed, they will assess that, or after the certain quarter has been completed, the finance function will assess, or the business partnering function will assess, or the top management will assess that hey, we have projected this much, and what exactly the performance has been done in the previous quarter. From that point of view, planning becomes very important thing, right? For an organization, say having a top line of 10,000 crore. Now let's assume the what exactly the client used to do is that they used to have the planning, budgeting, forecasting process absolutely a manual process. When I say a manual process, it was an Excel driven process. And they used to do the planning for a year which is going to begin from the month of April. They used to do planning 4 months before to that. So let's say from November end or from December, they used to start doing the planning for the year which is going to start from April. That what exactly their performance for the next year is going to happen. Now, when I say planning, planning is a very detailed and iterative process. It has to go multiple iteration. Just to give you a little background, the planning also happens in different manner. There is one kind of planning which is top down approach. There is one kind of planning which is bottom up approach. In top down planning is that the senior management says to the regional sales officer or to the lowest level of teams that say in the next year you have to achieve this much of target. There is one bottom up approach is that the data will be collected from the very lowest level of sales officer, that how what are the numbers they are expecting for the next year, and that way the planning process happens. After that once the actual month is getting completed, they will also arrive at the forecasting number, and they will also do the variance analysis. So the organization, what they were doing is that this planning, budgeting, forecasting process they used to do manually. Now, any kind of manual exercise comes, it involves two things. I mean, this is my experience, and it is very well aware to all of us. It involves two things. One is that a lot of manual work is required by a lot of human intervention is required, and second thing is even if it is done in Excel, it is very well error prone thing. Now in market from past 5 6 years, there has been drastic change, and a lot of blue chip companies, or so to say the emerging companies, have adopted EPM tools. When I say EPM tool, a lot of enterprise performance management tools are available. These tools can be a cloud based tool or a on-premise software as well. There is one ERP. ERP is a different thing in which the organization record their transaction. However, in addition to the ERP, they also have a EPM tool. Now, what exactly this EPM tool will do is that the EPM tool, uh, the organization, the business finance or the FP&A team will do their planning, budgeting, forecasting process completely on the EPM tool. Instead of the Excel based working, what they used to do, they will do the planning, budgeting, forecasting exercise on the EPM tool. Now, suppose there are a lot of tools available. I would like to name a couple of tools like Anaplan, Board, Hyperion, SAC, SAP Analytics Cloud. Those kind of tools are available, and these tools are very well can get integrated with the organization's ERP system.
Hmm.
So once the actual quarter complete, let's say quarter one has been completed, and it already has the data for planning process and the actual data, they can pull it from the ERP system, which is sync. And to synchronize, it requires some kind of data massaging and those kind of things. There is a data architecture is available between the ERP and EPM tools. Now, where our works comes here in is that a lot of tech explanation I have given, but just I would like to give you a little context. Is that it's not that the organization, when I say that we address to the CFO's problem statement, right? Our service line address to the CFO's problem statement. Now CFOs will come to us and say that, hey, our planning, budgeting, forecasting process is completely haywire. It's absolutely manual process. It requires a lot of human intervention. There are a lot of iteration. It involves a lot of manual exercise. There's a loss of control, and after the planning process also ends, we are not able to do absolutely a good forecasting numbers. So, basis the organization need, we will suggest them some EPM tool.
Like, what are the parameter spaces which you suggest EPM software to your client?
So yeah, I mean, see, there are a lot of variable factor which depends and which vary and from entity to entity. And also this EPM tools comes with a cost also. So it also a fixed time cost to an organization. So cost is one of the very crucial factor from a client point of view who are going to implement. The other variable factor from an elemency point of view, you can say that under what is the structure of organization, under what sector the organization is operating, whether it's a service sector or a manufacturing sector. Under manufacturing sector, what kind of are they planning process is a centralized process, or it is bifurcated to different people, how exactly the planning is being done. So there are a lot of variable factor basis which the tools are suggested. And I think I told you that there are a lot of tools available in the market, and it also depends at what level the organization current ERP system is they are operating on, at what platform. Suppose they are having I'm assuming, let's say client is operating their ERP on SAP. So in SAP itself has their own planning, budgeting, forecasting EPM tool as SAC, which is known as the SAP Analytics Cloud. It can very well get integrated with their current ERP system. It is also cloud based software. I'm not sure if it is a cloud based software or not, but SAP itself has their own EPM tool. Apart from that, there is specific Anaplan is one of the tool which has got wide very well popularity in last couple of years. That is specifically the planning, budgeting, forecasting tool. It is a cloud based software. Wherein the organization can do their planning, budgeting, forecasting. How it is going to be a change in terms of now how exactly we help in implementing Anaplan to the client, right? So the client will, so as I mentioned, that we cater to the CFO's problem statement. Say CFO has come up and says that he want to completely revamp his planning, budgeting, forecasting process, and it's not the that case that the client himself can go and purchase the Anaplan software and start doing the Anaplan planning process in the Anaplan, because the team has also used to get the hands on, the business finance team also used to needs to get the hands on the planning, budgeting, forecasting on the Anaplan software. So when we jump into the on this kind of project, our team has two different members. One is a functional guy and the other one is a technical guy. Okay. Now I'll explain step by step what exactly the functional guy does and what exactly the technical guy has to do. Now, as I mentioned, technical guy is expertise from an Anaplan point of view, or whatever the EPM tool the client has wants to explore. Let's say he has finalized Anaplan, he will go with the Anaplan. Okay. So the technical guy would be expertise on the Anaplan, and he will have the in-depth understanding of the Anaplan. And the functional guy, what exactly we do, the functional guy will do. Now, the functional guy would be a expertise in the finance function. He will be a chartered accountant, MBA graduate, or maybe a cost accountant. He will have an in-depth understanding of the finance process. He will go and understand at a very granular level how exactly the client does the planning, budgeting, forecasting process, how many months before the planning, budgeting, forecasting starts, whether the planning is done at a top down approach or bottom up approach, or is it a democratic approach of combination of top down or bottom up, what are the at what level the planning is being done, whether the planning is done at a portfolio level, brand level, SKU level. So in that way, how exactly your profitability is being driven, how exactly your GC is driven, what is the journey from MRP to NR to GC, MRP to net realization to GC. After GC, you will arrive at EBITDA or something. What are the different kind of management reporting you do, how exactly you calculate the variance analysis, at what level the variance analysis is calculated, what are the different feature of the report you want. And so I think I've tried to explain that the functional guy who is expertise in the finance function, he will in depth understand how exactly the planning, budgeting, forecasting process is being done. After getting the understanding, we develop the exact replica how the planning they do in a dummy Excel mockup. Okay. We prepare a dummy Excel mockup, a replica of what exactly client is doing. It doesn't have any number. It just have the structure. And if something a formula based, we put the formula that if in column C, if it is a total of column A and B, we'll put the in column C, it's a total of A plus B, and we'll give the input what exactly, how exactly column B C is calculated, and what is the source of column A and column B. I think I've explained it. After that, we will discuss the replica what we have prepared with the client, that hey, the understanding what we have got, this is our understanding, and this is we are going to develop the model in the Anaplan. When I say a model, it's a blank structure what we are going to give to the client in the Anaplan. And once we give this to the client, after that the UAT process start. UAT process means user acceptance testing. Uh, Before UAT, I mean, we before delivering to the client, we also do one level of testing from our side, that what we have got the understanding from the client, what we have built it up, and what the technical team has built it up in the Anaplan is as per the. I mean, everyone is on the same page or not. That exactly we do. After that, the UAT process start, and client comes up with their own nitty gritty, or there are a lot of nuances are involved in the UAT process. I mean, we can correlate with the audit part. Just at the finalization of audit, there are a lot of nuances are there, right?
Adjustments.
Be it internal audit or statutory audit.
Yeah.
So that exactly we do here in FP&A part. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, if you remember, there we cater the CFOs, we categorize the CFO's problem statement into different bucket. There is one operational finance, there is one business finance, and specialized categories finance. Under the operational finance, like there are O2C process, P2P process, and there are a lot of different R2R process, which is a close, consolidated, and report process. In O2C process, P2P process, you can imagine like from an redundancy point of view, or whatever the repetitive exercise a team member is doing, whether those can get automated or not. like there are a lot of tools available in the market. Like high radius is one of the tool which is widely used in the O2C process. When I say O2C process, it's a customer side process of an organization, order to cash process. What exactly high radius is being used is that
But I
it
have one
is used.
question, like it is basically done in ERP currently. These processes which you mentioned, your clients must
It
be
is being
having
done
some
in ERP.
ERP. Yeah, yeah,
It is being done in ERP, but
correct.
someone has to go and manually do the work, right?
Okay.
Uh, what can be automated? Like there are a lot of redundancy process or
Correct.
the mundane work, like the
Mhm.
person is doing on a repetitive basis to knock off the transaction or to the like there is high radius is one of the tool what I suggested. It has different module, credit and risk management module, collection module, receipt module, and so on and so forth. What exactly credit and risk management module will do is that it will automatically trigger an error if the credit limit has been breached of that particular customer, or if say the as per the high radius tool, the credit limit is of say 1 million INR. However, the organization has given already 1.5 million INR credit limit, so it will automatically throw an error which the ERP won't tell.
Why? Because there can be coding in
Because
ERP
ERP,
which can suggest, like if you enter manually, or even if you don't enter manually, they can generate a report which shows like this has been breached, limit has been breached, or at the time of
of
booking,
course, and
they can also suggest that this particular party has crossed the credit limit.
understood very well. I'll just try to answer this question. So, whenever I said that the automation can be done, we are trying to remove the manual intervention as much as we can.
Mhm.
Because if you see wherever there is in the credit and risk management department where there is a possibility of collusion can also happen from a risk point of view. Because if you see a lot of audits are being done on a sampling basis, right?
Correct.
Uh, So in that way, we are just trying to cover the uh, automation part. And when I say the automation, what exactly drastically will happen is that certain percentage of the fixed time employee will be realigned or repurposed. It's not that the manual intervention is getting removed, so those fixed time employee wouldn't be of any use, but they will be realigned or repurposed for some different work or maybe for more productive work.
Let's try to
In
summarize
that
it.
way.
Basically, for the audience, it has become a long session just for the explanation of the profile itself. So I just want to summarize it first so that we can be clear on like what they are listening, like what kind of profile it is. My audience has seen my last video about Oracle ERP consultant profile, where a chartered accountant or maybe MBA graduate or anyone from a finance role is assisting the client on implementing a new ERP system by understanding how their system works, accounting system works. Now,
Not
what?
exactly a ERP system.
No, no. Let me
Not
explain.
exactly a ERP
I'm not
system.
telling about your profile. I am telling about my previous video,
Ah,
right? Where
okay.
we mentioned the Oracle ERP consultant. We uploaded one video over there. Now, from continuing from there, what Mehul is saying is that their role is not to implement the ERP system. They inspect the ERP system or role of a CFO, like what are those areas where the CFO, maybe it can be budgeting, financial planning, analysis, and all those stuff which you mentioned, like operation and then your R2R process or procurement process, whatever the processes are which a CFO looks after. In those processes, first of all, they're trying to remove the redundancy and to make the things automated as far as possible. For financial planning and analysis part, they have some softwares like SAC, which is a SAP based analytical tool, and other software which you just mentioned, which can automate or can remove the manual intervention for the financial planning and analysis part. And it can be linked to their ERP system.
Right,
That is one thing. Now, other
right,
things are different processes where you are just suggesting like how the redundancy can be removed, manual intervention can be removed, risk can be reduced or minimized basis new softwares which you suggest to the client. Right? Is this
right.
what your role is?
Exactly.
Basically, what we can do, Mehul, is we also have one Boost My Career application. It's an Android application,
Okay.
right? So since
Okay.
I am seeing the session is going too vast, if the audience is interested, we can do another podcast based on their demand, just to explain on a PPT or some, give a realistic picture on a real case. We can do a webinar. It can be a paid webinar as well. If it depends on you how you want to schedule it, and it can be uploaded on an application, and users, students, or anyone who wishes can come. Very nominal price, obviously. If it is priced also, it will be very nominal, 50 100 rupees, not more than that, depending on what Mehul suggests. We can do that, but right now I want to put more questions, so that we can get a complete picture about this particular role, career growth, qualification, skills required, how much a person can earn. Those kind of questions I want to put in. So first, let us tell about, like, what is the qualification required to enter into this role, and also please repeat the your profile name as well.
So, I mean, different Big Four has a different name, but where currently I'm working is that they name it as finance and performance.
Okay.
I'm not very sure about what other Big Four name is that. And to answer your question, what exactly qualification requires that? So, as I mentioned, Yogesh, is that I'm part of functional team. So, the functional team, the very basic understanding is that he or she needs to have a good understanding of the financial accounting. Considering I'm a chartered accountant, it's
Then
nevertheless to say
see,
that
there are
I
two
mean, of
things.
course.
We'll talk about the skills
Hmm.
later on. I am currently asking what qualification, degree, or certificate an organization wants to hire a person. What they see, like CA can be one of the qualification. What all those
Okay, okay.
qualifications are, where your teammates must have obtained to work in this role.
Yeah. So, I mean, to answer particularly this question, chartered accountants, I mean, I have worked with chartered accountants, MBA in finance also I have worked with. I was surprised to see there are a lot of engineers also. I mean, of course, they have done their post qualification, post graduation in MBA in finance or something, but they are also, I've also worked with them. And it's surprising to know that they do both the kind of thing. They are good in a functional side also and tech side also. Tech side, the one who is
Hmm.
good in EPM also. So yes, chartered accountants,
ACCA, what about
management,
ACCA cost
MP,
accountants?
cost account. I was coming with for that only. Cost accountants are also. I've also worked with some of the cost accountant. ACCA, I haven't worked. Yeah, I mean ACCA can also be handy if he has a good understanding on, and it also depends on how much the candidate has the interest. Because ACCA, if you see the curriculum of that particular course is also
Are there any
mostly.
persons in your particular team or organization in this role who are
I'm not
ACCA?
very sure, Yogesh.
Okay,
I'm
you
not
have
very
not heard
sure.
about it. Okay, I mean, there are not
Yeah,
plenty
yeah,
of
I'm not
them.
sure.
What about CPAs?
Yeah, CPA can also be there.
Can also be there. So more or less, an
Yeah.
accounting or finance person can be into this role, the functional
Accounting,
part
or
of this role.
exactly. That's what I was trying to.
Correct.
I was trying to
Let's
build
come
that
on to the skills
whosoever has
part.
understanding in the financial.
Suppose an organization
Hmm.
removes the criteria of a qualification, whether you are CA, maybe cost accountant, AC, CA, CPA, MBA, doesn't matter. I mean, you can be anyone, but they have to look for the skill what you have in order to be into this role. Then what are those skills? And what should be those skills?
See, first and foremost skill is he need to have an understanding of financial accounting,
Okay.
that how exactly financial accountings are prepared, what are the components of balance sheet, P&L account, and those things.
Okay.
Hello.
One is the understanding of the subject.
Yeah, one need to have the understanding of the subject.
Okay.
Second thing is that he should have the basic understanding of the when it's a operational finance, that how exactly different processes are there. He must have undergone through a review of process related review,
Hmm.
that what exactly an O2C process, what exactly P2P process, R2R कैसे होता है,
Correct.
and FP&A process क्या होता है.
All
So
right.
those kind of understanding he needs to have. And if he has already worked in some of the FP&A related projects, like one
See,
of the
you
things
are going at
was
a
which was
very
handy
little
for
bit
me.
high stage about an experienced person. I am talking about someone who is a fresher, who will not be having the knowledge of
Exactly.
these processes. Right. So, what organization sees what kind of skills that person should have for an
No,
entry level job in this role, or they do not
and
hire entry
I'm
level
telling
people.
you about I'm telling you about entry level people only. I mean, assuming that the candidate has completed his articleship. During articleship, also apart from an generic audit, or apart from those things, we also do audit of some listed companies, or even though not a listed company, but they have established process also. So what we basically expect from a candidate is that he should have a good understanding of different processes.
Hmm.
Maybe how exactly a P2P process are driven, how exactly an O2C process are driven, how the books are getting closed after a month or a year, a quarter end or a year end. in that way. FP&A what exactly a FP&A does. Not a very detailed understanding, but a basic understanding would also be a handy thing
Understood. Understood. The subject matter knowledge is
in
required,
in,
and
in that way, I
knowledge
would say.
about the different processes is
Subject matter
required.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Huh. Even though in-depth process is not, we are not expecting an in-depth process for a
Mhm.
fresher, but a basic process, and if the candidate is showing a keen interest.
Attitude, what you look
Exactly.
for. Maybe communication skills, what
Huh.
you can look for. Maybe the
Yeah.
IT skills in terms of Microsoft Excel is one of the basic thing. PowerPoint, Word, basic things, or maybe some of
No,
the software like
I'll
SAP,
come.
Oracle.
Yeah, I'll tell you. We don't expect he should have a depth understanding of Excel and those things.
Okay.
When it comes to soft skill, because he has to interact on a day in and day out with the relevant stakeholder. So he needs to have a good communication skill, and he needs to be proactive in the approach,
Okay.
because this kind of projects are very time driven. I mean, time bound project. It has to get completed within the due date, because it is directly going to impact the organization fixed cost in that way. So he has to be
Understood.
proactive and be committed toward the work. That what we
Committed,
expect.
maybe to work in tight deadlines, and good
Yeah,
communication skills, understanding of the
right,
process, subject matter knowledge. These are all things are required.
right,
Even if you have a basic degree for the formality, but you have the
right.
skills, you can enter into this role. And obviously, these
Correct, correct.
qualifications, as Mehul suggested, like CA, MBA, and all those, will also help. Now, coming on to the career progression path, at what level a person joins, what you call them, like as a BCom graduate, if anyone joins in, what you call them as per your current organization, and how the career progress, like how the
So,
roles responsibility shifts to the next level.
so I'm not sure about Yogesh, the BCom graduate, but if someone is qualified chartered
Mhm.
accountant, cost accountant,
All
or
right.
a MBA graduate, then I think he gets onboarded at a consultant level,
Okay.
or in some case at analyst level, and after that the normal progression what happens in big four organization, very well aware of it, that in my case I'll tell you, there's a consultant, there is a senior consultant, post senior consultant there's a manager care about, there is AD, then director, then executive director, and partner. But yeah, it's a long journey.
Correct. And it's very
That's
obvious
how the
that once
progression
you reach
happens.
to a manager level, then your role shifts from those operational stuff like daily talking to the client or
Yeah,
understanding their issues to managing the team. That is the major role which
yeah,
managers plays in.
exactly. After that, if someone becomes at a manager level, then he essentially manages the team and is not involved in the day-to-day field work, but he proactively reaches out to his team, and he act as a, if there is some challenges from the client side or from his team side, then he manages those things. Not in one client, but he has to be multitasking, because he has to work on a couple of different clients at the same time simultaneously.
Yeah. So what are the switch available? Like if a person joins in, works for a couple of years, doesn't like the profile or wants to maybe move out of it, what are the options available for that person?
Okay, so to talk about this, I mean, of course, there's no right or wrong answer to this, Yogesh. I mean, if he or she likes or not, I don't know. But what are the career progression? What available if someone wants to move out of this service line? Is that, of course, as I mentioned, and if you see the org chart of any layman generic organization, is that there is a CEO, under CEO there is a CFO, COO, CMO, and so on and so forth. CIO, Chief Information Officer, or
Correct.
CTO.
Yeah.
Now, under CFO, there are different reports to the CFO. There is a FP&A lead, there is a treasury lead, there is a tax lead. So he can be part of the finance function of any reputed organization. And also, when I say talk about FP&A, I think you must also be very well aware. FP&A also has a touch base with the business team. So if he has very much interest in the business, he can be part of the business team, the sales team, or the that team. So he can also be part of a business team of any organization.
All right, understood. Like can work in any of the finance role of any of the client, maybe similar client on which that person has a hands-on experience of
Yeah,
their finance
or in
profile.
the same similar industry.
Yeah, in a similar industry, obviously. So can work in a
Right, right,
finance role, any kind of finance role, as Mehul explained. Now
right, right.
coming on to the most interesting part, which audience must be looking for, about the remuneration. So see, we don't ask or to disclose your remuneration, but we ask in general, like at an entry level, what a person gets in general, any range or any ballpark number.
I I wish I could have answered this, Yogesh, but don't have any number. But see, if I quote
Range.
any
We are
number,
asking about
and
a
if
range. We are asking about a range, like a CA fresher or maybe an MBA graduate, what those people get at the entry level. With the
maybe 10
minimum
to
minimum
12
to
lakhs
maximum.
LPA,
10 to 15 is the range.
maybe 10 to 12,
10 to
not even
12. Okay.
15, I would say.
Okay. 10 to 12 is
Yeah,
the entry level package
yeah.
which generally people get. And I don't think that the IM people generally enter into this role. Might be tier 2
No, I
colleges,
mean, no,
MBA
I've seen, I mean,
colleges.
I've actually worked with a lot of IM people also.
Okay.
And also, sorry, just want to just missed a very important point. I mean, see, what we are exactly doing, helping organization, this is also has a touch of strategy consulting. I've a lot of, after coming working in this profile, you also get to work in a lot of strategy based uh, engagement or project work. So MBB, Mackenzie Bain, Boston. That
That options
option
are
is also
also there.
available. But yeah, that options are also available. But I have rarely seen people switching from here. But yeah, I mean, of course, you can be an exception. There's no harm
Mhm.
in saying that. But I've heard or I've seen people exploring that option also.
Understood. So that is the entry level package which you just mentioned about a fresher, which includes MBA or CA. I think that doesn't matter. Qualification doesn't matter. They give, I think Big Four gives across all functions 10 to 12 lakh, which I have, understood from all the podcasts which we have
Okay.
done on this particular channel, Boost My Career. But after a person grows, like becomes a manager, AD, so is it similar to the audit line? Like how the package grows or how the earning grows in the audit line? Is it same
No,
to
I
that?
think it would be different. No, I think it would be different.
In what sense? Like, is it more remunerative or it is less remunerative than the
I think it's
auditing?
more remunerative.
All right, because all the consulting roles are interesting. Audit is a kind of a
Hmm.
compliance role, but this is something which organizations are uh, from their will. They are basically paying you for the
Yeah, yeah, of
transformation
course.
part.
It's not a compliance role. It
It's
is
not a compliance role.
more an enhancement kind of role.
Correct, correct. Any final thing you want to suggest about maybe for whom this particular role is and for whom they should particularly avoid this role because it will not be a good fit for them. So, what's your take on that?
So, So as I mentioned that anyone, I mean, from a chartered accountancy point of view, I can say that anyone who is interested and who has done their articleship in audit or tax-based practice and having a keen interest on that particular area, those candidates should absolutely not explore this thing, this kind of roles. Someone who is more interested into audits, as I have already covered, apart from that, someone who is more interested into merger based practices, M&A practices, or due diligence, I think they should also focus on that part. This thing. I mean, I'll tell you my experience. I came very later to know about this kind of service line, basis my work experience in my previous organization. I got to know very lately that there is FP&A kind of service line also, because previously what I've heard is that FP&A kind of department available in industry only. But when I got to know that there's a specific consultancy for at a big four standpoint where they consult the client or they suggest the client in this kind of matter. So then I got to know about this thing. So yes, I answered. I think someone who is interested into tax and audit role, we should not explore this thing. And someone who is looking for a structured based solution, as a because every client has a different problem statement. Every client has a different solution which we give basis their requirement. So we need to do a lot of brainstorming, and who is not comfortable in doing that, I think they should not explore.
All right, and who should explore this in one line?
I mean, who are ready to? I mean, any kind of tech enablement or any kind of tech who is more interested into knowing of the different technology which are going to add value to the finance function should definitely give a explore to this kind of roles. And who are more interested into business role, have are comfortable in number crunching and those kind of thing, are the sky is the limit for them, I think.
I think that's a good answer. So, Mehul, I wish you don't mind if we publish it on our YouTube channel, Boost My Career. And we'll
Sure, sure.
definitely share a link with you as well. And first of all, thank you so much, for coming here. And as I mentioned, that there are so much things to learn from you about this role, that a particular webinar can be conducted. You can prepare a PPT and you can, in depth, tell about like all the skill set, which all the subject matter knowledge, which we just mentioned, a person should possess. That you
Sure.
can do. And it's completely based on your interest and the audience, which you can see in the comment section. So if they are interested, you are interested, then obviously we can post one webinar in our application as well. Obviously, it can be paid or free depending on how you want to structure it. And that's it from my side,
Sure.
Mehul. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you, Yogesh. Thank you. Happy to help. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.